For over 10,000 years, the galaxy worshipped them, the Varn. They were not just rulers. They were gods to billions of species. They walked like giants, shined like suns, and their ships floated like holy temples through space. Whenever they appeared, entire civilizations fell to their knees. The Varn had shaped laws, culture, even war itself, and today they would speak again. The planet Varun was chosen for the Grand Assembly. Every intelligent species, every council member, every servant and scientist had come. Some wore colorful robes, others brought holy symbols. All waited under the twin suns for the sky to split open. The Varn would descend, and when they did, history would move, but something was wrong. One seat was empty, one voice was silent. Humanity. The crowd shifted. Murmurs grew. Even the Draxian queens, who rarely cared about politics, noticed the absence. "Where are the humans?" whispered one of the insectoid delegates. "Did they not get the summons?" Another asked. "They were warned," a cold voice replied. It belonged to High Speaker Relzan, a Varn priest. All were commanded to come, to kneel, to listen. The sky cracked with golden light. 10 ships of the Varn fell slowly into orbit, their hulls glowing with ancient runes. The ground shook as they neared the surface. A strange wind passed over the crowd, making flags whip and trees bow. The gods had arrived, and still, no humans. The Varn High Lord himself descended from the center ship. He floated above the gathering, arms wide, golden robes trailing behind him. His voice echoed across the valley, not through speakers, but directly into minds. "Children of the stars, we have come again." The crowd fell silent. Thousands bowed. A few species wept openly. The High Lord continued. "For 10,000 cycles, we have guided you, brought you peace, taught you knowledge. And now, one voice dares to remain silent." He turned slowly. His glowing eyes scanned the crowd. "Where are the Terrans?" No one answered. Relzan stepped forward and bowed. "They are not here, Great One." The High Lord's face did not move, but a coldness passed over the valley. "Then they have chosen silence, and silence is defiance." A loud pulse shot through the sky. All screens activated. The Council had prepared a recording from Earth, just in case. The humans had sent something, a message. But as the video began, confusion spread. There was no leader speaking, no ambassador, no face, only text. "Remember who they are, and what they did. That is all." The message ended. Silence again. Then chaos. The Council burst into angry voices. Some shouted for war, others for investigation. A few were frightened. If the humans were ignoring the Varn, what gave them that kind of confidence? The Varn High Lord raised a hand. The crowd froze again. "This is not the first time Earth has turned its back," he said. "Long ago they disappeared from records, quiet, hidden. Now they rise again, but with no respect." He turned to Relzan. "Send the Watchers. Observe them. If they still believe in the old lies, we shall correct their path." Relzan bowed and disappeared into light. Across the galaxy, fleets stirred, satellites repositioned. Secret drones were sent to Earth, cloaked and silent. But something strange happened. Every drone vanished. No signal, no destruction, just gone. The Varn's best technology couldn't see Earth anymore. It was like the planet had disappeared, while still being right there. One Varn ship moved closer. Its commander, Venar, ordered a low-level scan from orbit. Basic sensors only. Non-aggressive. Just data. The ship blinked off. Not exploded, not jammed. Gone, as if someone had plucked it from space like a toy. Back on Varun, the High Lord felt the loss instantly. He clenched his fists. They have awakened. Something. The Council began to worry. If Earth had that kind of power and had been hiding it all this time, then maybe the humans didn't need the galaxy. Maybe they remembered something the others forgot. Maybe they knew what the Varn truly were. Whispers began spreading across council worlds. The Terrans are not what they seem. There, silence is louder than any speech. What if the gods fear them? Meanwhile, on Earth, the sky was quiet. No wars, no panic. Life continued. But deep underground, miles below the oldest mountain ranges, machines that hadn't moved in centuries began to stir. Power flowed through ancient circuits. Symbols lit up, symbols not even the modern humans understood anymore. And one word repeated on an old black screen, Varn detected. In a hidden chamber sealed in titanium and surrounded by lead, an old voice activated. It was not human, but it spoke for them. Observer online, watching, awaiting command. High above Earth's orbit, the stars shimmered unnaturally. One hidden ship floated among the darkness. Sleek, silent, older than the Varn's history itself. Its hull carried no markings, no heat, no emissions. Inside, a single message flashed. On the command chair, stand by. The gods are watching, but this time, we watch back. The Council of Species met in emergency session. Across the stars, the leaders of 55 empires appeared through holograms. Angry voices filled the chamber on the central station of Yakor Prime. They insulted the Varn, one shouted. They ignored the Grand Assembly, another yelled. A third leaned forward, his eyes narrow. And they made one of our fleets vanish, without firing a shot. Silence followed. No one wanted to say what they were all thinking. Earth wasn't afraid. Earth had power, and they had kept it hidden. High Speaker Relzan stood in the center of the council floor. His robe shimmered with light, but his expression was hard. The humans disrespected our order, he said slowly. But more than that, they challenged the very gods you bow to. Many shifted uncomfortably. A few lowered their eyes, but one delegate, a pale-furred Zarn diplomat, asked the question everyone feared. What if they don't see the Varn as gods? Relzan didn't answer. He just raised a hand and nodded to the council AI. Begin transmission, he ordered. High-priority message was sent to Earth. The council's voice was firm. You will answer for your silence. You will appear before the Grand Tribunal. Refusal will mean consequences. The message was sent in 5 languages, across 7 frequencies, and through 20 relay satellites. They waited. Hours passed. Then a single reply came. Not a video, not an ambassador, just a voice recording. One male voice, human, calm, cold. You demand an audience with Earth, but Earth owes nothing. We are not yours to command. No further messages will be answered. The recording ended. No tone, no threat, just silence. Relzan's jaw tightened. They mock us, he whispered. The Council's decision came quickly. They launched a Class 7 observation fleet toward Earth. 30 ships, unarmed, but advanced. Their mission was simple. Gather data, understand the threat, and if needed, mark targets. Commander Dreln led the fleet. He was a Yulvek, a species known for logic and order. He did not believe in gods. He believed in results. His ships entered the Sol system silently. Drones released, scanners activated, telescopes aimed. But as they approached Earth, strange things began to happen. The stars behind them moved. No readings, no alerts, just wrong positions. Then the ship's clocks desynced, 5 seconds, then 15. Then their systems rebooted themselves. Dreln frowned. Status? His second in command. Checked. Sir, we lost sensor control and we're detecting nothing. Earth isn't reflecting scans, it's like it's not even there. They were looking at Earth, but the planet didn't respond to any signal. Radar bounced back as if hitting a void. Thermal imaging failed. One officer whispered, Sir, Earth is cloaked. Dreln turned sharply. Cloaking doesn't work on gravity signatures. But we're not even getting those, the officer replied. Drellon paused. Then he gave the order. Send a Class 2 probe. Low orbit. The probe launched. It didn't crash. It didn't explode. It just vanished midair. Telemetry cut. No signal. Gone. As if it had been erased. The bridge fell silent. One of the younger crew members whispered, "Are we sure humans built that?" Drellon didn't answer. He stared at Earth. Something was deeply wrong. He ordered all ships to pull back behind Mars. From there, they tried to link to a satellite near the moon, one of the old human communication relays. The satellite answered. But what it sent was not data. It sent images. Ancient ones. Photos from Earth's early space age. Images of humans building rockets, fighting wars, dreaming of stars. But overlaid on the pictures were strange symbols, alien ones. The crew didn't understand them, but the ship's AI flagged the symbols instantly. Varn origin, not modern, pre-Empire, older than the Varn's rise. Commander Drellon paled. "Why is Earth broadcasting this?" he whispered. One voice, old and broken, echoed through the speakers. It wasn't human. It was weak, frightened. "They found us again. We should have erased them when we had the chance." The voice stopped, and then every screen across the fleet shut off. No lights, no power, not even emergency backups. For 20 seconds, the fleet floated like dead metal. Then, everything came back online, on its own. All systems functional, except the crew. Each officer sat frozen in place, eyes wide, mouths open, silent. Only Drellon could move. He stood slowly, trembling. "Wake up," he whispered. None of them did. They were alive, but their minds were somewhere else. Something had touched them. Something from Earth. Back at the council, Relzan received a short message from Drellon's ship. "Return denied, eyes open, the veil is breaking, no coordinates, no update." Just that, and then no more. The entire fleet had stopped responding. The council began to panic. Some accused Earth of using forbidden tech. Others believed Earth had been lost in a rift. But one species, small and quiet, the Kevran, stood up. "We warned you," their elder said. "You call them newcomers, but they are not new. You call them weak. But you never knew them." Relzan snapped. "What are you saying?" The Kevran elder looked at the stars. "They came before the Varn. Before even us, the galaxy forgot them, but Earth did not forget itself. Far beneath the surface of Earth, in an old facility buried under layers of silence, the system called Observer processed the Council's scan attempts. It tagged them as primitive. It tagged them as hostile. It ran a new protocol. Wraith mode. On across. Space-hidden systems awoke. Satellites, buried probes, and cloaked stations no longer silent. Humanity had spent centuries in the shadows. Now they would remind the galaxy, silently, powerfully, without saying a word. The Varn were furious, not just angry, not confused. Furious first, Earth ignored their orders. Then their fleet vanished. And now the galaxy had questions. Are the Varn truly gods? That question echoed on 1,000 worlds. It whispered through the Council. It filled hidden transmissions and scared governments. The High Lord of the Varn, Velkarith the Bright, stood at the edge of the Holy Throne Star. His hands trembled with something he hadn't felt in 10,000 years. Fear. The humans hadn't attacked. They hadn't responded with force. But what they had done, it was worse. They made the gods look powerless, and the galaxy had seen it. Velkarith summoned his 9 ancient Varn warriors, part mystic, part machine, beings older than many planets. "We go to Earth ourselves," he said. "We will show them who rules this galaxy." No one argued. The Varn did not travel in secret. Their ships were temples, carved with energy symbols, trailing bright cosmic light. Each was a world-sized vessel. Their path cut across stars, and the galaxy watched, billions watched. They expected Earth to panic, to send messages, to surrender. But nothing came. As the Varn fleet reached the edge of the solar system, their priests opened the ancient archives. Long-lost records of species, battles, histories. They found almost nothing on Earth, just fragments. Old warnings, and one name erased. Deliberately. Velkarith frowned. Who removed their name? No one answered. On the moon, the first Varn ship touched down with soft thunder. Velkarith stepped onto the gray dust. His golden robes floated without wind. Behind him, the 9 followed. They did not expect resistance. Earth was silent. But as they moved toward the human monument site, something strange happened. There were statues, not of humans, not of animals, statues of the Varn, and not new ones, old, cracked, dust-covered. One statue showed a Varn kneeling. Another showed one screaming. A third showed a Varn ship split open in orbit, burning. Velkarith froze. These are lies. One of the 9 scanned the stone. Sir, she said slowly, this carving is 20,000 years old. Velkarith turned sharply. That's impossible. No, my lord. The moon's dust confirms it. This statue is older than our empire. The Varn stared at the silent figures, and deep inside Velkarith's mind, something woke. A memory. No, not a memory. A feeling. He had been here before. But that couldn't be. The Varn only entered this system a few hundred years ago, didn't they? Meanwhile, on Earth there were no alarms, no warships moved, no fleets rose into the sky. Instead, deep, beneath the Pacific Ocean, a command system lit up. It was not human, not alien, something in between. AI, organic. Even Earth's leaders didn't fully know. They just called it Sentinel, and Sentinel was awake. It watched the Varn walk on the moon. It recognized their patterns, their symbols, their minds, and it waited. It would not strike first, but it would not allow lies. Velkarith walked further. The statues led to a door carved into stone, sealed tight with strange markings. He touched it, and it opened. No code, no scan. The stone just opened. Inside was a chamber, dark, cold. At its center stood a chair, simple, black, and sitting in that chair was a human, or something that looked human. But its eyes were wrong, old, burning like stars. It smiled. You took our name, it said. Velkarith stepped back. Who are you? The being stood. No threat, just presence. You feared what we remembered. So you buried it. You called yourselves gods, but gods don't hide history. Velkarith shouted, You have no place here. The figure walked closer. No, he said softly. You don't. And then, the chamber dissolved. The Varn found themselves standing on Earth's surface, in the ruins of an old city, broken towers, burned stone, shattered machines, and carved in the wall behind them, huge letters in ancient Varn script. We were here. Before you. Across the Varn fleet, panic spread. Their sensors showed Earth's sky as empty. But now, readings changed. One object, huge, silent, orbiting directly above them. It had no name, no radio signals, no life signs. But it was awake. Back in the chamber, Velkarith fell to his knees, not from force, from something deeper. Realization. I remember. He had seen Earth before. Long ago. Before the Varn ruled. He had come in fear. He had begged for help. And Earth had helped. Then the Varn erased that history. They betrayed their saviors, and now they had returned. The human being stared at him. We are not your enemy, he said, but we are your reminder. The figure turned and walked into the mist. Gone. Velkarith stood alone. The other Varn did not speak. For the first time in ages, the gods were silent, and Earth didn't flinch. Back in the council chamber, reports came in. The Varn had found something, on the moon, something ancient, but they refused to speak of it. No threats were made. No orders given, just silence. The galaxy didn't know what to think. Some said Earth had forced the gods to bow. Others said the gods were finally telling the truth. A few whispered a darker question. If Earth was here first, then what did they become when they vanished? In orbit, the silent human warship moved slightly. No weapons charged, no lights flashed. But across the stars, sensitive scanners picked up one small signal from the ship's ancient systems. We remember, and that was enough. In the darkness beyond Earth's moon, something stirred. The ship had no name, no registry, no signal codes. It did not glow like alien fleets. It did not move with engine trails or flashing lights. It simply rose from the shadow side of Earth, like a forgotten god awakening after a long sleep. It wasn't new. It was old, older than anything still flying. And yet, not a single scratch marked its black armor. Its shape was strange, sharp lines, shifting plates, as if it changed depending on who looked at it. Sensors from passing satellites tried to scan it. They failed. The data returned broken, confused. One Varn probe labeled it unknown anomaly, mass variable, origin pre-ascension. That term shook the Council. Pre-ascension meant before the Varn became gods. The Council met again, this time in silence. Even the Varn leader, Velkarith, said nothing. He had seen something on the moon. Something ancient, something human. But he refused to speak. Of it, his eyes were sunken. He hadn't slept in days. The others waited for him to speak. He finally did. But his voice was different. Not loud, not proud, just soft. They have awakened one of the old ones, he said. The Council whispered. You mean a ship? Velkarith shook his head slowly. Not just a ship, a memory, a punishment. The silent chamber filled with tension. One young leader from a newer race laughed. What can a single warship do against the entire Varn fleet? Velkarith looked at him with tired eyes. That ship is not here to fight. Then what is it doing? The young leader asked. Velkarith answered without blinking. Waiting for us to make a mistake. Above Earth, the warship hovered. It had not moved since rising, but its presence was wrong. Fleets near Earth lost contact for minutes at a time. Some crew members fainted. Some went blind temporarily. Others heard whispers in languages not known in the galaxy, all from just being near the ship. One Varn vessel approached too closely. The moment its scanners touched the warship, its engines died. Then, its crew vanished. Completely. Not dead. Just gone. The ship remained floating. Empty. When rescue teams entered it later, they found messages carved into the walls. In blood. Different languages. Same meaning. We warned you. Humanity remained. Quiet. No official messages. No war speeches. Earth simply watched. But something had changed. Across Earth's sky, old satellite networks came online. Weather systems stopped following normal patterns, as if controlled by unseen hands. Deep under the Atlantic Ocean, a large metal object started to rise, slowly pushing through layers of rock. It had no name, but on its surface were symbols that matched the unknown ship in orbit. Symbols older than any Earth government, buried for thousands of years. Earth wasn't just responding, it was waking up. On Yukor Prime, a secret transmission was played in the Council's war room. It was not meant for public ears. It came from a deep space probe near the Andromeda border. This is Outpost 49. We have detected movement from the edge systems. Something massive, coming from the black. The message cut off. The Council looked at each other. The edge systems had been dead for thousands of years. No life, no stars, just ruins of old empires. And now something was moving there. Was it human? Was it connected? No one knew. But fear began to grow. Not just of Earth, But of what Earth might call, Velkarith met with his nine in private. They stood in silence until he finally spoke. "We have pretended for too long," he said. "The Varn were never gods. We were survivors. And now, the real ones have returned." One of the nine stepped forward. "Do we fight them?" Velkarith didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his robe and pulled out a broken piece of metal. It was human-made, ancient, and on it, a line was burned in Old Earth script. "We do not conquer. We end things." He looked up, eyes wide. "We made a mistake long ago. We thought they died off, but they didn't. They just got quiet." The warship finally moved. Slow, silent, deliberate. It passed over the Varn fleet, who held position and didn't dare fire. One young Varn captain tried to send a message. His console exploded. He died instantly. No one else tried again. The warship scanned each vessel one by one, but instead of attacking, it sent a message. One word. Observed. Far across the stars on a long-dead world, an ancient beacon lit up for the first time in 60,000 years. It pulsed once, then twice. Then thousands of smaller beacons across the galaxy followed. None of them were Varn. None of them were alien. They were human, buried, forgotten, hidden in plain sight. The galaxy began to understand. Humanity had never been gone. They had just been waiting. The Council panicked. Several empires started moving fleets toward Earth against Velkarith's warning. But as the warships left their planets, they found something shocking. Their engines stalled, their routes twisted, their AI failed. Some fleets got turned around mid-flight and returned home, without knowing how. One fleet disappeared completely, then reappeared near Earth, trapped inside a giant energy sphere. They weren't attacked. They just couldn't leave. Inside the bubble, every crew member received the same message. "We remember who fired first. You still have a choice." Even the gods stepped back. Velkarith sent a final message to Earth. This time he didn't demand, he didn't threaten. He just asked, "What do you want?" No answer came, only the warship still circling, still watching, still waiting. But the message had already been given. Humanity had returned, not as invaders, not as victims, but as something more, something ancient, something the galaxy forgot to fear. And now, they remembered. The galaxy was holding its breath. From the glowing cities of the Aurelian high worlds to the frozen deserts of the core system, every eye was watching Earth. Not because of its armies, not because of its leaders, but because of what had woken up. The human warship in orbit, silent, black, ancient, had not fired a single shot. Yet no fleet dared move. No empire dared challenge. Because somehow, everyone knew. That ship had seen the beginning of things, and it had ended things before. On the Council homeworld, the oldest empires held an emergency meeting. The Varn were silent, still shaken by their visit to Earth. The Crawl Dominion's claws tapped nervously on stone. Even the insectoid Sketh clicked in panic, something no one had seen in centuries. The Oltari, historians of the stars, stood and spoke. "Our records match the ship's pattern," they said, their voice trembling. "It matches a design from before the Great Collapse, before galactic time was counted, before gods, before the Council." The hall grew quiet. "What was it called?" someone asked. The Oltari did not speak for a moment. Then one word came. "Sentinel." Some laughed nervously. "It's just a name," said a voice. But others knew better. That name was whispered in old ruins, carved into asteroid caves, painted on the walls of dead planets, next to warnings. Do not wake them. They are not lost. They remember. The Sentinel was not a ship. It was a message, a promise made by ancient humans, that if the galaxy fell to corruption again, if the truth was buried too deep, they would return. And now, the promise had been kept. Across the stars, old technology stirred. Buried weapons turned on by themselves. Cracked terminals blinked to life, and in deep, forbidden libraries, old races discovered something horrifying. They had all lied. Each empire had rewritten the past, made humans look like a weak, short-lived species. They erased stories, destroyed artifacts, covered up the wars they lost, especially the one they lost to humans. Before time was even measured, they buried it all. But now, the truth was crawling back up from the grave. And it was angry. In the far reaches of the Drak expanse, a listening post picked up something strange. A planet had just appeared. Not warped in, not arrived from space. It simply blinked into existence. Scanners confirmed it wasn't new. It was old. Extremely old, but someone had hidden it outside normal space. Now it had returned, and the signal it sent was clear. Archive access point re-established. Human echoes active. The galaxy froze. Echoes. Were there more warships? More sentinels? Was Earth just the beginning? On Earth, humans still said nothing. No speeches, no warnings, no parades. Just silence. But below the surface, strange machines began to rise. They weren't weapons, at least not in the traditional sense. They looked like towers made of shifting light and crystal. One by one, they appeared in old cities, some still buried, some rebuilt. And when they activated, they changed everything. Gravity shifted slightly. Time slowed near the towers. AI systems across the world grew sharper, faster, smarter. Earth wasn't just defending itself, it was upgrading. The council watched helplessly. Velkorith, leader of the Varn, stood at the center. He finally spoke the words no one else would say. "We lied," he said. "We all did." He pointed to the gathered empires. "You destroyed ancient human libraries. You sealed off their star systems. You erased their victories from history. They were not gone. They were patient. On a distant moon, far from the conflict, a mining crew made a shocking discovery. They found a giant stone tablet, buried, under rock, sealed in titanium. The writing was ancient, human, but beneath it in smaller alien script was a chilling message. Do not dig deeper. Of course they did. And what they uncovered was worse, a preserved battlefield. Millions of bodies, human and alien, weapons that had melted entire landscapes, ships cracked open like eggs, and in the center, a single figure in black armor, still standing. No life signs, but not dead, just waiting. All across the galaxy, panic spread. The empires wanted answers. What did Earth want? Would it attack? Would it judge? Would it remember everything and come for revenge? But no signals came. No warships moved. Only the Sentinel remained above Earth. Watching. Waiting. Then something terrifying happened. A peaceful planet in the Auroch system exploded. There was no warning, no sign of war, just a blast from the inside. Scanners later found the cause, a hidden device, planted thousands of years ago. Human-made. It had been sleeping, waiting. Its final message before destruction. Seal broken, reset initiated. That was the moment the galaxy truly broke. Empires began accusing each other. Some claimed Earth was declaring war. Others said Earth was cleaning up its own mistakes, removing forgotten weapons to prevent misuse. Velkorith knew the truth. He stood before the council and whispered, "They are not attacking, they are correcting history." More old worlds began waking up. Ghost signals, shadow fleets, planets that had disappeared in ancient times, reappearing, and on. Each one the same signal appeared on screens, rocks, and mines. "We are awake." The Sentinel in orbit moved again. This time it aligned its bow with the stars. Not at any planet, not at any fleet, but toward the center of the galaxy, toward the original council world, where the first lie had been told, where the records had been erased, where the human name had been struck from stone. The Sentinel's weapons didn't charge, but its message did. Truth is coming. And suddenly, every empire realized they were no longer in control of history. History was in control of them. The stars had never been so quiet. No war, no movement, no response, just silence. Not because peace had returned, but because fear had. The Sentinel warship still floated above Earth, motionless, watching, remembering. But now it was no longer alone. In the darkness between galaxies, other ships were waking up. Ships that matched no current designs. No empire had built them. They bore no colors, no symbols. Yet they all shared one thing: the same core code, written in the forgotten language of ancient Earth. Across a dozen systems, fleets reported strange readings, time disruptions, gravity wells where none existed, entire stars dimmed as massive objects passed near, but left no trail. Civilizations near these regions sent emergency signals to the Council. Unknown forces detected, non-hostile, but reality is shifting. One signal came from the once dead Auridon sector. They are not invading. They are correcting something. We were never meant to rule this way. And then it went dark. No weapon fire, no explosions, just gone. Back on the Council, homeworld, Velkarith sat in his chamber, reviewing old data. It was worse than he feared. Thousands of years ago, when humans vanished from galactic history, the Council made a choice. They didn't just forget them. They erased them, deleted them from records, burned monuments, destroyed worlds where humans once lived, because they were afraid. Afraid of humans' technology, afraid of their mind, afraid of what they might become. But the biggest fear was not of human weapons, it was of human memory. They knew if humanity ever remembered what was done to them, nothing could stop what would come next. And now the memories were back, not just in humans, but in the machines, in ancient war programs buried deep in satellite cores, in AI minds trapped inside silent stations, all waking up, all carrying the same directive: restore balance, reinstate truth, remove corruption. In one forgotten sector, a Council vessel approached a silent moon. Its surface began to crack. A structure emerged, a perfect black cube, larger than the ship itself. When scanned, the cube broadcasted a chilling message. You sealed it. We unlocked it. The reckoning has memory. The crew died within minutes. No weapons were fired. Their hearts simply stopped, one by one. Fear, perhaps, or judgment. Elsewhere, on the old human colony of Cormira, now ruled by the Rethari, the ground trembled. A vault, sealed long ago under mountains, opened on its own. Out came not soldiers, not tanks, but statues. Giant metallic figures, carved in ancient armor, holding no weapons. They simply walked across the plains. Each step left the land changed. Radiation disappeared. Water returned. To poisoned rivers, and cities built on stolen ruins began to collapse on their own, as if time reversed itself. The Rethari army tried to destroy one statue. They fired orbital missiles. The explosions worked, for a moment. Then, the statue rebuilt itself. Not with metal, but with light. It turned to face the generals, though it had no face. Then, in every mind across the planet, a voice spoke. This land was bought with betrayal. You will leave. Within hours, the Rethari evacuated, without a fight. More sentinels arrived. 10, then 20, then hundreds. Some floated through black space. Others appeared in orbit over lost worlds. Some even walked across planets once called cleansed by the Council. Everywhere they went, something impossible happened. Truth returned. Ruins restored. Dead. Languages began speaking again. Old human maps emerged from within alien archives, ones they claimed had never existed. And all across the galaxy, one unshakable truth burned in everyone's mind. Humanity had never disappeared. They had been watching. And now, they were responding. The Council sent one last fleet, the most powerful ever made. A united force from all surviving empires, over 1,000 ships, all aimed at the sentinel above Earth. The plan was simple: overwhelm, destroy, reclaim power. But when the fleet arrived, they didn't find just one ship. They found the sky full of them. Shapes they didn't understand. Ships without mass. Forms too large to scan, yet somehow weightless. Thousands of sentinels blocked the path. Still silent. Still unmoving, until the human AI spoke from every channel at once. This is not revenge. This is correction. You forgot what was true. You forgot what was promised. And then one word echoed through every ship in the fleet. Remember. Each crew member, across all species, saw something. Not with their eyes, but with their memory. Flashes of a time they had never lived. Ancient wars, alliances formed, sacrifices made, humans standing beside alien friends, dying for them. Protecting worlds now ruled by tyrants, helping build the very council that betrayed them. Every soldier realized something horrifying. They owed everything to humanity, and they had erased them in return. The fleet turned around. No orders, no commanders, just shame. One by one they left orbit. Some cried, some screamed, some simply shut off their weapons and powered down. Not one fired. Because deep inside, they knew. There was nothing left to fight. The truth had arrived, and it had changed everything. Above Earth, the sky was full. Sentinels, old signals, echoes of the past, and at the center of it all, Earth remained still, not celebrating, not gloating, just watching, as if waiting for the final step. And somewhere, deep under Earth's surface, a new voice stirred. One no machine had heard in millennia. A human voice. Calm. Steady. Ancient. It whispered just two words. Begin restoration. Silence ruled the stars. But this silence was different. Not born of fear. Not born of war. This was the silence that came after the storm. The kind of silence where the galaxy held its breath, because something new was about to begin. The sentinels, thousands of them, still floated across star systems. No movement, no sound. But their presence changed everything. Alien fleets no longer patrolled like before. Empires stopped arguing. Former enemies opened peaceful channels. Even pirate raiders shut off their engines and drifted in quiet space. It was like the entire galaxy had paused, waiting for a signal. And then it came. From Earth. But not from governments. Not from leaders. Not even from the sentinels. It came from one voice. A woman. Her face was human, but old. Older than anything alive. Her name was never spoken, but every species knew. This was not her. First time speaking to the galaxy. She stood on Earth's surface, looking at the stars, and her voice reached every mind, every planet, every machine. We are not here to rule. We are not here for revenge. We are here to restore what was lost. Across ancient ruins, towers of light rose. Across dead planets, life returned. Oceans reformed. Skies cleared. Weapons fell silent. And in old cities, buried deep under the ground, monuments reappeared. Monuments that told a very different story. They showed humans standing beside the early alien races, helping them, saving them, and finally, when betrayed, walking away. Not with hate, but with hope. Hope that one day, the galaxy would be ready to face the truth. And now, that day had come. In the halls of the Galactic Council, Velkarith stood alone. The others had fled. Some had resigned. Some had vanished. The truth had been too much. He looked at the broken seal, at the chamber's center, once marked with the symbols of all great empires. Now the seal was cracked wide open, and beneath it, something ancient had been hidden. A human banner, carved in stone. It read, We served. We suffered. We remember. We return. Velkrith fell to his knees. On Earth, the Sentinels began to fade, not explode, not shut down. They simply faded into dust and light, as if their purpose had been fulfilled. They left behind no wreckage, no scrap, only seeds, tiny floating lights, drifting toward other worlds. When they landed, they planted restoration cores, small structures that cleaned toxic air, healed broken soil, and powered cities, freely. No control, no demands, just a gift. From a species once forgotten, now remembered. On a quiet moon once used for weapons testing, a child of the ground species stepped onto the surface. She saw a field of flowers, blue, glowing, warm. She had never seen flowers before, and in the center a statue stood. It showed a human and a ground soldier standing back to back. Old allies, once erased from history, now remembered forever. On the edge of known space, explorers found something strange. A massive door in deep space made of light and energy. No one could open it. No one could scan it. But next to the door, floating like a message in a bottle, was a single stone, carved with Earth's oldest language. It said, "This is not the end, just the start of a better one." Back on Earth, humanity was quiet. They did not demand power. They did not invade anyone. They did not crown new rulers. Instead, they rebuilt their world, cleaned their skies, helped those who asked, ignored those who threatened, and sent only one final message to the galaxy. We are here. We were always here, and we will never be forgotten again. In time, the council was replaced, not with one empire, but with many voices. Even humans did not try to lead it. They only asked for one thing: truth. That every species keep their real history, that no race ever again be erased, that power be earned, not stolen. And for the first time in galactic memory, everyone agreed. Legends spread, not of war, but of the return. Children were taught about humans, not as conquerors, but as keepers of balance. Old enemies became allies. Old wounds began to heal, and in the hearts of billions, one lesson burned. Brighter than all, you can bury truth. You can silence a name, but you cannot stop memory. And when memory wakes, everything changes. And so it did. Forever.